Warm welcome back, and now we dive into the details for today. Analyst says the 2024 annual budget for Rivers State is invalid and void. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Open Conversation, socio-political analyst Daniel Momo said Governor of Rivers State lacks jurisdiction to appeal a case he has already withdrawn.
The political solution initiated by the president, who at what point was this courted? Because the Court of Appeal clearly said something, that the governor and the Rivers State government lacks the jurisdiction to now come for an appeal when they have withdrawn their cases at the lower court. And that brings me back to the lower court. You see, clearly, does the Federal High Court has jurisdiction to entertain that matter in the first place? That matter has to deal with the river. It has something to do with INEC. INEC is not involved in that judgment. I was okay. There's a federal agencies that needed a federal court to entertain it. It is purely between the government of Rivers State, between the governor, between the House of Assembly and the budget. So, at what point were they able to take that first judgment to the Court of Appeal? And so we must ask ourselves here, does truly the Federal High Court has that jurisdiction to first entertain that matter? I think those are some of the things that the Supreme Court will first deal with. But unfortunately, as we stand today, unfortunately, the budget of Rivers State 2024 is no longer.
On his part, Chiz Masila said the Martinami Hule faction of the Rivers State of Assembly did not resign from the People's Democratic Party. Therefore, they remain member of the PDP.
That should be saying, no, this would have left us is the PDP. Has gone to the court to say they are still our members, they have not left us. Because you see, the way I decamp from a political party as a non-assembly member, a non-government official, it's not the same thing they will. Because first they will have to resign from their own party before they can now go. You know, one of the things that, I'm not trying to look at it, one of the things that Wike is holding against PDP, you know, in trying to defeat Wike, I'm not trying to defeat, is the fact that upon being called, even though he wanted the minister, I'm saying it on him, he wanted the minister, but upon being called as minister to work with the FCT, to work with the Tinubu, Wike wrote the party.
The faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly declared the seat of the now Chief of Staff to the state government, Edison Ehie, and the Pro-Fubara Assembly Speaker, Victor Okujombo, vacant, citing their prolonged absence from legislative. In a different story, Delta State government has emphasized its determination to enforce its anti-open grazing law as part of steps to enhance food security in the state. The State Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Mr. Val Arenyenka, stated this while fielding questions from newsmen in Asaba, the state capital. He noted, "We believe that open grazing is a crime." He said the state government was out to ensure that farmers were safe in their farms, expressing its readiness to create an enabling environment for the establishment of ranches. He said, "Once we are able to provide that environment and the business of herding being a personal business, those businessmen will come and establish ranching, which will give them land, and we will give them land to do so, then we would have conquered the first phase of food insecurity." Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned a $2 billion fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by Lucky Okode, a former caretaker chairman, Southern Ijaw Local Government Area of Bayelsa State, till November 28. Justice Binta Nyako adjourned the case following an oral application by Okode's counsel, Asmau Yunusa, to enable her respond to a court affidavit filed by Mimi Ayoa, lawyer to the Chief of Defendant's staff, Christopher Musa. Okode in the suit stated, dated and filed on May 3rd by Mr. Femi Falana, had sued the CDS Musa and Chief of Army Staff Tauri Lagbaja as first and second correspondents, and the applicant is accusing the defendant of allegedly publishing his photograph among those wanted in connection to the killing of 17 soldiers in Okwama in Delta State. He prayed the court to award a 2 billion naira in damages against the respondents for alleged violation of his rights and personal liberty and dignity, while the applicant also prayed the court to set aside the declaration and award the fine as compensation for damages suffered over the action of the defense headquarters, Abuja. Justice Yako, however, told the lawyer who represented the CDS, Mimi Ayua, and Yunusa that the issue is what the parties can sit down together to resolve amicably and adjourn the matter until November 28th for further mention, and also reordered that the second respondent be served with the hearing notice. An explosion occurred at the NIPCO compressed natural gas filling station in Benin City, Edo State, on October 16, 2024. The blast, which happened around 5:30 p.m., was caused by a substandard CNG cylinder installed in the vehicle, leading to the vehicle's explosion when filled with about 4 SCM of gas. 3 individuals were injured and were taken to the hospital in Benin City Teaching Hospital for treatment, with 1 requiring surgery. Initial reports indicate that the cylinder was not designed for a CNG use and that it had been illegally modified. The incident has issued and raised concerns about the safety of converting power-petroled vehicles to CNG, a practice promoted by the federal government to reduce transport costs. In response, the President's CNG initiative confirmed the incident and emphasized the importance of using approved conversion centers and adhering to safety standards. Other authorities, including the police and NIPCO management, are investigating the cause of the explosion, while operations at the affected stations have been temporarily suspended. NIPCO reiterated its commitment to safety and the need for compliance with industry regulations to prevent similar incidents in the future. In Imo State, police command has commenced an orderly room trial against 4 of its officers caught in a viral video maltreating and extorting money from people on the road. The officers, who have been in detention for some days at the command's headquarters, are identified as Inspector Ibrahim Naina, Inspector Unaka Max Virgin, Inspector Miller Ibinata, and Sergeant Anthony Alozie. The arrest of the officers followed the allegation leveled against them by staff of Young Sea Entertainment, a film production outfit, who were in the state for movie production. A video posted by the victims showed how the officers manhandled and forced them to give out some dollars found in their bags, which were part of the items for the shooting. A statement by the Imo State Police Command spokesperson ASP Henry Okoye said the outcome of the orderly room trial will be communicated in due course. We now move on to Enugu State, where the operatives of the Zonal Command of the EFCC have apprehended 36 individuals suspected to be internet fraudsters. The arrest took place following what the EFCC describes as actionable intelligence that linked the suspects to online criminal activities. A statement by the EFCC on Thursday via X said preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects allegedly impersonated foreign nationals on social media platforms to defraud unsuspecting individuals, and the operation led to the recovery of valuable items such as 8 luxury vehicles, as well as a sophisticated mobile phone and laptops believed to have been used in the fraudulent activities. Do not forget that we are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can reach us on our socials, our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on X, formerly known as Twitter, Atlantic TV/net, on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. The Independent National Electoral Commission says the date for the Anambra governorship election has been fixed for Saturday, 8 November 2025. INEC National Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who disclosed this on Thursday while addressing representatives of the political parties at the INEC headquarters in Abuja, said the commission has approved that the 2025 Anambra governorship election he said the decision is in line and compliance with the mandatory requirement of 360 days, while the formal notice for the election will be published on 13th November 2024, and party primaries will be held from 20th March to 2025 on April 10th. Lagos State House of Assembly is preparing to replace the existing 37 local council development areas with newly designated administrative areas. The 37 DAs to be replaced were created by President Bola Tinubu in 2003 when he was governor of Lagos State. This was part of the discussion at the public hearing for the proposed bill of law to provide for the local government system establishment and administration and to consolidate all laws on local government administration. Speaking at the hearing, Madashiu Obasa, the speaker represented by Mojisola Miranda, his deputy, noted that the bill is a key step towards improving accountability within the state. He said, the bill has passed its preliminary stages and the House is hereby subjecting it to public appraisal in our transparent convention, he said. He continued saying, at this stage, we gather public observations and thoughts to reflect on them in the next bill stage. In Bauchi, the State Police Command says it has arrested 2 students for allegedly stealing 100 mobile phones and other electronics from Mumti markets. In a statement on Friday, Ahmed Wakil, Bauchi State spokesperson, said the suspects, both aged 15, were Hamza Sadiq and Adamu Amadu. Wakil said officers from the Operation Restore Peace, ORP unit, acted on directives of Awa Musa, the State Police Commissioner. On October 1st, 2024, a mobile shop owner reported the theft of the following items: 100 mobile phones, 74 MP4 players, 30 cell batteries, 50 external memory cards, and 1 Bluetooth headset. The spokesperson said, following the report, the Commissioner of Police directed CSP Kim Albert, ORP team, to investigate, leading to the arrest of Bakari Duku Comprehensive School students, Hamza Sadiq and Adamu Amadu, both 15 years of age. During the interrogation, the suspect confessed to having managed to obtain the shop key from where it was stored for safekeeping, timed the owner's shop departure from the village market, and repeatedly opened the shop door to steal from it during the day. Still in Bauchi State, Governor Bala Mohammed has called on the President Bola Tinubu-led federal government to review its current monetary and fiscal policies, stating that they are not working effectively. The governor made this call at the launch of the Nigeria Development Update in Abuja and urged the government to avoid being dogmatic in its approach and stressed the need for urgent need of change due to the growing hardship in the country. The governor further highlighted the plight of ordinary Nigerians, warning that hunger and economic hardship have created a volatile situation, and also called on the federal government to develop more effective economic policies, stressing that the funds currently being received are insufficient to address the widespread hunger. Analysts have expressed dissatisfaction with activities of some tanker drivers who act under the influence of hard drugs. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Atlantic Blowout, public affairs analyst, commentator Mufasa Eyemosa said most tanker drivers are not usually in their right frame of mind due to substances they consumed and therefore need proper orientation. Mufasa.
They are not regularly on their right frame of mind. Some of them are under the influence of substances. It could be alcohol, it could be some other funny substances that takes away their consciousness, and to a large extent they become a danger to themselves and other road users. And I think that would further solicit for proper orientation and education, as the case may be. I think most of these truck drivers, the only thing they know how to do is just to drive the trucks, and they don't understand that your psyche is also another aspect of driving. Generally, how much more a truck
that carries a highly inflammable material and content, which means they are, in their own case, they have to be more careful on the road. You know, so what is the level of enlightenment, orientation does most of these truck drivers?
On his part, a different analyst, Ambassador Eke, said, scooping fuel from a fallen tanker is an act of criminality that must be stopped.
If you want to be your brother's keeper, you want to risk your life because you want to protect what belongs to your neighbor or to your brother. If you die in that cause, it can be said, oh, this man, these people were very nice people. They died in trying to save and protect what belongs to their fellow Nigerians. But in this case, the scooping is to siphon and collect products that do not belong to you. It's condemnable. It's not only in Jigawa, like you said. In Rivers State, it has happened. In several states, it keeps happening. When a truck will turn, and then the next mindset of the villagers, the people around there is, hey, we have seen maybe whether it's the Lord's blessing. God has favored us, so favor you with another man's product. So I want to think that it's not a question of awareness. They are aware that this thing can lead to the untimely.
The death toll from the tanker explosion in Jigawa, Majia local government area, where 153 persons died and over 100 people were hospitalized. Federal Capital Territory Administration has begun the demolition of 50 duplexes and bungalows illegally erected in Sabon Lugbe, Abuja. Mukhtar Galadima, the Director, Department of Development Control, who led the exercise on Thursday, explained that the structures were illegally erected by land grabbers without approval of appropriate authorities. Galadima explained that the southwest area of the Sabon Lugbe was part of Phase 5 district of the Federal Capital City, and the department had warned that it would bounce on land grabbers in areas and advised people against buying any property without due diligence to ensure its legality. Galadima said the demolition was part of the department's enforcement, beginning with 10 buildings, and also identified areas where land grabbers were operating, as Idu train station, now part of Gosa and Kiami, and Akbotafi area in Lugbe. The director warned that illegal developments would not be condoned in the capital city, saying that land grabbers were deceiving innocent residents that the area would be integrated into Phase 5 of the FCC. Ericsson Nigeria, an information and telecommunications company, says that there are plans to build a technology hub worth $19 million in the country. Peter Ogundele, the company's managing director, spoke on the plan at the Nigeria-Sweden Business Forum, a gathering focused on trade, investment, digital economy, agriculture, and renewable energy. Ogundele said Ericsson has been active in Nigeria since independence and was formally registered in 1978. Then that the company has partnered with Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, and other organizations on capacity building for 25 years. Quoting him, "We can train them. Ericsson will also take part in it, and some of them can be exported into the world," Ogundele said. On digital skills development, Akintola Jones, director of the Gluwa, a digital wallet service, said the company would train over 30,000 people under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu's administration. He stated that once the firm's satellite launches in December 2024, Nigerians would connect directly to it, marking a significant milestone for the country's tech ecosystem. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says petrol subsidy costs Nigeria about 5% of its gross domestic product. On May 29, President Bola Tinubu said the petrol subsidy regime was over. 3 months later, reports showed that Tinubu was considering a temporary subsidy on petrol on crude oil prices and foreign exchange rates soared. Although the federal government had consistently denied the return of petrol subsidy, the Nigerian National Petroleum Limited, NNPC Limited, on August 19 said the federal government owes it 7.8 trillion naira for under-recovery. Speaking as a panelist at the launch of the Nigerian Development Update in Abuja, Edun said subsidy removal was necessary as it has cost the country a lot. He said President Bola Tinubu's administration has been able to end the subsidy issue, which had lingered for 40 years. Quoting him, "When you lose 5% of GDP, I think Dr. Ogio said it the other day, but if you imagine that we now have those funds back each month, each day, with market pricing of PMS, the government has money at the federal, state, and private levels and local government levels for housing, for infrastructure, and other things." It is very, very significant. It is a very, very significant point, and it's President Bola Tinubu that has been able to do what was there for 40 years. You're watching Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight into the rest of the stories. Don't go nowhere.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water, and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats, and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women, and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors, and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Federal government has taken delivery of 1 million doses of the R21 Matrix M malaria vaccine donated by Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. The handover ceremony took place in Abuja, coming after the World Health Organization had in December said that the variant of the vaccine is for pre-qualified vaccines, while in October 2023, WHO recommended its use for the prevention of malaria in children, following the advice of WHO's Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization and the Malaria Policy Advisory Group. The pre-qualification means larger access to vaccines as a key tool to prevent malaria in children, with it being prerequisite for vaccine procurement by UNICEF and funding support for deployment by Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Speaking during the handover ceremony in Abuja, the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Primary Health Care Development, Dr. Muyi Aina, said the arrival of the malaria vaccine from Gavi is a testament to President Bola Tinubu's commitment to protecting the lives of Nigerians. Aina said, Nigeria is among the top 10 contributors to the global burden of malaria, accounting for approximately 27% of the global burden and 31% of malaria deaths worldwide. While in 2022, nearly 200,000 deaths from malaria occurred in Nigeria. Children under 5 years of age and pregnant women are most affected, with a national malaria prevalence rate of 22% in children aged 6 to 59 months of 2021. In a different story, the federal government plans to implement a cashless tolling system at the Abuja-Kefi Expressway and Kefi-Akwanga-Makurdi Road. This initiative was announced by the Minister of Works, David Umahi, as part of efforts to improve road infrastructure under the Highway Development and Management Initiative. The project aims to promote a sustainable transportation ecosystem and boost economic growth. The Kefi-Akwanga-Makurdi Road, funded by China Exim Company and executed by China Harbour Engineering Company, will be tolled to recover project costs. The government also plans to enhance road measures of safety, such as relief stations, CCTV cameras, and solar lighting. A committee has been developed to implement the framework and is expected to submit its report within 2 weeks. House of Reps has continued to investigate hearing on oil thefts and pipeline vandalism and its effect on environment in oil-producing states. The hearing, which entered on the deluge of petitions by the host communities, were Aito, NIG, and Ajip, Wando, oil company, and their operations that have resulted negatively on the environment. Both companies agreed on the need for the House of Representatives to go through legislative intervention, provide environment that will deter such acts inimical to the economic well-being and ecosystem of the nation. Owando, speaking through its team lead, Philip Akudoro, attributed a high percentage of oil spillage and its resultant effects on the host communities to the increasing appetite of the host communities to pilfer the crude from the pipelines through illegal connections and damage of oil installations. He insisted that host communities are individually and collectively sabotaging efforts of oil companies and attributed such clashes of interests for reasons why the production fell drastically to 700,000 barrels per day in 2018 before it started picking up through combined security activities by stakeholders earlier. Chairman Committee, Honorable Julius Pondi, said the House will resolve to get to the root of the environmental degradation and pollution caused by oil companies and their operations.
99% of them have been found to be third-party infractions from mostly vandals and theft who have come to steal. Like I said, it's a very sorry and painful situation.
Like you said, I share the same coastline with you. So we suffer the same thing. But that it will be totally wrong to say that if our people steal crude oil, if our people involved in vandalization, then we should own up and say it. I think so, we should own up and say it. Because there will be a time that we speak to our brothers there should be a time that we speak to our brothers. If we continue like this, we are talking about the host community trust. If you continue to finalize the pipelines, how do you have money in the host? Yes, some of the languages may be very harsh, but it's not take away the fact that our people are involved in these activities. So I think that saying that it should never may be also too harsh. So let it use the word mildly. The one I find funny is when he said appetite to steal. Yeah. Otherwise, if our people are, these are things that are known everywhere, that we have good people, we also have criminals. After all, you represent the good and bad people of Southern Niger. So if the small bad people in Southern Niger are the criminals, then we should own it. I don't agree that the larger people in Southern Niger, no. There are always small elements that's involved in crime. We should own up that these elements are involved in crime. We should own it. We should protect them. We shouldn't be seen doing so in public when we know that the elements are there.
This is coming after the committee arranged an oversight visit to the operation sites of Oando in Delta State to ascertain claims of having cleaned up the effects of the recent May 2024 oil spillage in some of their fields. House of Reps has called for the review of the budgetary allocation of the Bureau of Public Procurement (BPP) to ensure, amongst others, proper oversight over 800 ministries, departments and agencies. Also to implement the established procurement policies and due process compliance. The lawmaker said the existing funds provided for the Bureau is grossly inadequate to meet the extensive responsibilities of the procurement audits, and that given the prevailing trend of procurement corruption in Nigeria, constituting over 70% of corruption in the public sector, adding that there is an increasing need to ensure the implementation of procurement policies and due process compliance in line with global best practices.
That the Bureau is empowered to, among other things, oversight over 800 ministries, departments and agencies, MDS, to ensure the implementation of established procurement policies and due process compliance. Recognizes the need to ensure monitoring and surveillance of federal government procurement procedures and ongoing projects across the 6 geopolitical zones. Aware that the budget allocation for the Bureau in the Appropriation Act 2024 is only 2 billion naira, 2.2 billion naira. Concerned that the existing funds provided for the Bureau is grossly inadequate to meet the extensive responsibility of the procurement audits, monitoring and surveillance in the ministry, departments and agencies, MDS, in the 6 geopolitical zones of the nation. Also concerned that given the prevailing trend of procurement corruption in Nigeria, constituting over 70% of corruption in the public procurement sector, there is an increasing need to ensure the implementation of procurement policies and due process compliance in line with global best practices. Cognizant that the increasing rates of procurement corruption in the public sector necessitates urgent measures for effective oversight to ensure value for money, transparency, competitiveness, and professionalism.
The House further urged the federal government through the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning to review the budgetary allocation of the Bureau of Public Procurement in line with the current realities and subsequent budget estimates to enable successful discharge of the Bureau's core mandate.
This has continued unabatedly, attacking on those both side community on several occasions. This age-long crisis is as a result of the inaction of the relevant federal and state agencies to adopt and enforce the existing boundary demarcation survey/document with file number Otupo sheet 270XE as conducted by the Savior General of the Federation and domiciled with the Kaduna office of the National Boundary Commission. Worried that sometime in August as well, a truck of fertilizer meant for the constituency Ojuobi was also blocked and sneakily seized by the Bonta militia. As a matter of fact, the Oju Awaji Road connecting Constitution and Oju local government area of Benue State is at the moment impassable and impervious due to the garrison of Bonta militia. Also, this crisis and insecurity bordered on land dispute, which has to do with the boundary demarcation, and that if the relevant authority concerning the boundary demarcation do not take frantic effort, and how these disputed areas boundary demarcated in line with the existing order and laws, the recurring clashes between these communities will continue unabated and lead to further loss of lives and properties. Recall that some time ago, these same militias at Bonta killed about 12 soldiers. This need not to be handled with kid gloves anymore, for the sake of the two affected communities in the two various local governments.
The House, while mandating the National Boundary Commission in conjunction with the relevant agencies in Benue State to resolve the incessant crisis with finality by demarcating the boundaries between the communities in line with the original boundary demarcated and surveyor documents domicile with Kaduna office of the National Boundary Commission as conducted by the Surveyor General of the Federation, also urged the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to send relief materials to the communities which were also affected by the flood to cushion the effect of the disaster. Move on to a different story, where the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory sitting in Maitama has shifted for further hearing in the leadership crisis rocking the Staff Multipurpose Cooperative Society of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company till October 8. Justice Charles Agbaza said that the court would, on the next date, equally hear a motion that 15 staff members of the NNPCL, who are defendants in the matter, filed to disqualify him from presiding over the case, adding that the defendants, through their team of lawyers, led by Ibrahim Idris, SAN, is asking the judge to recuse himself, insisting they were not comfortable in his ability to dissolve the leadership dispute objectively. They allege that some of the interim orders the judge made in the matter reflected his bias against them, while the defendants in the motion predicated their motion on Section 36(1) of the 1999 Constitution as amended, noted that the court had on October 3rd, while there was a contention between two lawyers over who was validly briefed to represent the corporate society, ordered that one Mr. Lekon Ogunboya to appear to clarify he had instructed as the president of the management committee of the cooperative to defend it in the matter. Justice Agbaza, who acknowledged receipt of the motion, adjourned to hear all the pending applications in the matter, and the suit was brought before the court by 4 aggrieved members of the corporate Eze, Omuneme Chamberlain Ajagba, Alhaji Ibrahim Yakubu, and Bello Mohammed Garba. In a different story, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari has underscored the crucial role of the private sector in advancing agricultural development in Nigeria. He made this statement at the Stanbic IBTC Breakfast Summit held at Abuja and highlighted the importance of the summit themed driving economic transformation through agro-processing, building a sustainable future, stressing that the theme aligns with President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a food emergency and security in the Renewed Hope agenda, which is aimed at promoting an agricultural revolution. He called for increased collaboration between the private sectors and public sectors, urging stakeholders to leverage appropriate technology and innovation in agro-processing to enhance the value addition to agricultural produce, and outlined the government's commitment to fostering a vibrant agri-business sector. Kyari also stressed the importance of the private sector taking a lead role in agriculture, stating the current agricultural policy is for the private sector to be in the driver's seat, while the government provides an enabling environment and encourages stakeholders to work towards increasing value addition in agriculture and reducing post-harvest losses in order to achieve food security and wealth creation. The summit provided a crucial platform for stakeholders to engage in discussions on improving Nigeria's agricultural landscape through private sector-led initiatives and the ultimate aim of developing a more robust and sustainable agribusiness economy. Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff, has appealed for support from the public in the battle against insurgents and gunmen. Speaking in a video message on Friday, Musa said Nigeria faces challenges with asymmetric warfare involving non-state actors in various regions. He added that the army is committed to restoring peace and security. A whole-of-society approach is necessary for success in achieving that. He said, "We have a history of safeguarding Africa and even participating in peacekeeping operations in Europe, so we have significant experience." He said, "Currently, Nigeria, as part of the international community, is dealing with asymmetric warfare with non-state actors operating in different parts of our country. In the Northeast, for 15 years, we have faced issues with Boko Haram and ISWAP. In the Northwest, banditry. The Southwest has pipeline vandalization and sea piracy, and in the Southeast, IPOB is pushing for secession. Despite all this, the armed forces remain resolute. We are a professional force, and we continue to enhance and intensify training, which is crucial for our troops. We are also focusing on troop welfare, as it is essential for optimal performance. Our efforts aims to restore peace so that the children can return to school, markets can flourish, and Nigeria's economy can rebound, particularly in the South and other regions. We assure Nigerians of this." The federal government has disclosed plans to crystallize 1.1 billion private sector funding as a co-financing requirement in the power sector. The Managing Director, Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, who disclosed this at an ongoing Nigeria Energy Summit held in Lagos with the team Breaking Barriers to the New Energy Era, Clean, Reliable and Sustainable, which was organized by the Inform Markets, decried the rate of challenges plaguing the power sector. The REA boss asserted that exploring other sources of power generation was critical, stressing that solar is now easy to deploy with the economic viability of solar, while 1.5 million Nigerians grew interconnected mini-grids to enhance electricity reliability. The REA boss called for an improvement in the commercial viability of the players, adding that the private sector must improve their financial viability, while the co-founder, Likon Energy, Hakim Disu, applauded the Nigerian energy transition, stating that it is the most advanced compared to other African nations because of the opportunities to go through some of the energy transaction plans. Earlier in his opening remarks, the exhibition director, Energy Portfolio, MEA, Informal Markets, Ade Yusuf, said the African region is increasingly becoming a supply house for global economic growth, which is driven by its rich natural resources and the growing appetite for innovation and investment. And this is where we wrap it up on this edition of Government and Public Service Report on Atlantic Television Network in the great city of Port Harcourt. I am King David Obasi, thanking you so far for staying with us. Continue with us on our social media networks and stay connected on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, formerly known as Twitter, Atlantic TV/net. On our website, still remains Atlantic TV, AtlanticNetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.